Let's move over to another outfielder that could get dealt, a guy that is having a great bounce back season. We talked about him early on this show this year. That is Tyler O'Neill. A lot of people might not know that Tyler O'Neill was drafted by the Seattle Mariners, and he was, I think it was a third overall, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, third round pick, 2013, out of Canada, out of high school. Ends up getting traded to the Cardinals for Marco Gonzalez. That was back in 2017. So, Tyler O'Neill, could he end up going back to Seattle? I'm sure he wouldn't want to hit there. Let's be honest. In his contract year, he's probably saying, keep me in Boston. But if the Red Sox try to get some value, you send him over to Seattle, and he could be a really nice piece in that lineup to help an outfield that probably could use someone like him.
Yeah, for sure. I think the place that if Tyler Neal had to pick to play outside of Toronto, as you said, a Canadian, a guy whose father was a bodybuilder, right? He was Mr. Canada, right? So a great bodybuilder. We see the physique that Tyler Neal, has, and he's picked up from his dad. But also Cincinnati is one of those ballparks too, where on his Baseball Savant page, if you look at the expected home runs by the ballpark, Cincinnati, he would fare incredibly well with. Seattle, kind of a mid-table. I was just reading something earlier today about right-handed hitters in Seattle and Safeco. It's one of the worst combinations
Yeah.
possible. So that's not going to help his value, but that is something that could very much help Seattle as they try to get a little bit more pop, length in an already deep lineup, but a lineup that's really missing a big punch in the middle of it. Ty France hitting more for average than anything after Julio Rodriguez. You got to hope for maybe 30 home runs out of your catcher and Cal Raleigh. Not totally reasonable, but getting back Tyler O'Neill, maybe turning back the clock in that way and say, hey, Marco Gonzalez, we enjoyed having you for a little while, but let's welcome back one of our top draft picks and send you off into free agency with a little postseason experience as well.
Yeah, I think it's a nice fit for the team. Like I said, like we're talking about, Tyler Neal's not going to be happy with it. But you look at their outfield situation. You got Julio Rodriguez, you got Luke Raley, who hasn't really done what they were expecting coming from the Rays, and there's Mitch Haniger, who there's always kind of questions about how healthy he's going to be. You add Tyler Neal in there, he's going to help you as far as giving you a guy that can go and run down fly balls in the outfield. He's a solid enough defender and give you some pop in the lineup. So I think it's a great fit for Seattle. I know that you mentioned as far as some trade fits before we started and kind of turn this more into reunions that fit in Cincinnati. I do like that a lot. I don't want to just gloss over that because Tyler O'Neill would love it, and I think that would be a perfect spot for both team and player where he could really take that lineup to another level.
Yeah, and being more of a veteran presence, not an old guy, still not 30 yet, but O'Neill in that lineup with all of those young players, that's obviously going to help out in a real major way. Will Benson's been nice for them since they acquired him from Cleveland, but again, O'Neill is a big step ahead. TJ Friedel, he did get an MVP vote back end of the ballot. I think it was a 10th vote. But still, Tyler Neal, if you can add that to the middle of your lineup in a division, that's very winnable. Like we've been saying it even before this season started, and a lot of other people have picked up on it. Both Centrals have been very competitive and really quality so far this year. So hey, let's take some of that pressure packed and that congestion in the AL East. Let's bring it to the National League Central, and I think everyone's the better for it.
For sure. No, it's going to be a good race. And I could very well see two, if not even three teams making it out of the Central with the wild cards. I mean, it's a very winnable kind of National League this year. We've talked about, there's that top tier. There's the Braves, the Phillies, the Dodgers. If you want to put the Cubs and the Brewers as a tier below it, you can. But I think that they're much closer to the rest of the National League than that top tier. It's really a lot of teams in the middle. And getting a guy like Tyler O'Neill, who's playing for a contract, who's already off to a great start. You put him in that ballpark, he could put up some gaudy numbers. He could put up, a second half where it's like, man, he popped 18 home runs in the last couple months and really boosted his free agent stock, but really helped carry a team into the playoffs. I like that fit more than the reunion, and I'm sure that Tyler O'Neill would prefer to go to Cincy than all the way back up to the Pacific Northwest.
Ellie De La Cruz, Spencer Steer, Tyler O'Neill. That's a formidable 2-3-4 in your lineup there. We know what De La Cruz is doing when he gets on base, causing havoc, and with those guys hitting behind him. I mean, that's a real quality middle of the order.